this essential item.
The question is the motion be agreed to. The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, well, I must acknowledge actually that member. I didn't used to think she was that good a health spokesman until Grant Robertson got on the job. And I think Labor should bring back Ruth Dyson. Actually, because by comparison, she was hard-working, she was insightful, and she had something positive to offer. But now that the Labor Party is run by student politicians, as if it was a students' association, we now know that Ruth Dyson was pretty good. And actually, I share the member's concern about those families. I wish the Labor Party did, because actually we've seen in this House there's only one thing the Labor Party really cares about: voluntary student membership of student unions. What is the only time we've seen the opposition, we're used to it, unfocused, lacking in knowledge, irrelevant to what's going on in the world generally, and making no impact, except on student union membership. When they're focused, they're insightful, they've got a strategy, they're consistent, until it all falls over when they got it wrong. So even on the one thing they cared about, when there's riots in London, when our financial markets are all over the place, volatile and unpredictable, when New Zealand is working with the biggest natural disaster in the developed world compared to the size of our economy, Labor spent all election year filibustering over the student membership bill. The only positive contribution they have made, except for one other thing that they really cared about, and that was how Phil Goff could get out of forgetting that he'd been briefed about Israeli tourists. Because on that issue we saw passion, we saw persistence, we saw a media strategy. And Mr Speaker, it was all because Labor still want to act like they're in government. The reason they're not relevant to the current debates going on in New Zealand or around the world is because they haven't yet apologised for getting it so wrong when they were in government. This is a political party who thinks Helen Clark's going to drop out of the sky back into the Prime Minister's seat any day when the New Zealand electorate wakes up and realises they made a big mistake putting the Labor Party out of office. This is a political party who is still putting out press releases as if they're the government. The spokesman on finance calmly reassuring the nation that in the face of market turmoil, his decisions will keep us on a steady road back to higher spending, more debt, bigger government, lower incomes, less exports. You see, that's what New Zealand remembers about the tail end of that government. Mired in controversy and scandal. They left office mired in controversy and scandal, and nothing has changed about the attitudes that gave rise to those scandals, and nothing has changed about the policy. It's the 2007 budget all over again, as if nothing had changed. The same stuff wheeled out the same way by the same kind of politician who doesn't know much about what's going on in the real world, Mr Speaker. That is why the public supports the John Key-led government. There's no alternative for a start, but actually it's much more positive than that, because through all that time, National has focused on the issues that matter, not the voluntary student union bill. And for the 5 minutes that we did, we tripped them up, Mr Speaker, and because the government has delivered considered and consistent decisions that protect the vulnerable through tough times and lay the building blocks for reversing the economic decline that party pushed New Zealand into, reversing the excesses of rapid credit growth wasteful government and a shrinking export sector. That is why New Zealand supports the John Key government.
The Honourable Leanne Dalzell.